Hello, everybody. That's right, we've got a couple of new tricks here. That's right, it's SUNY Broome Republicans, and you have the pleasure of speaking to your two hosts. I am Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier.
And I am Michael Woodward, the President of the SUNY Broome Republicans.
That's right, we've got our sound effects on there. We had a very interesting episode last week, and just to cover that, I want to go over, there's the Pancakes for Puerto Rico.
Yes.
We want to start off with that. That's tomorrow, November 19th, and I hope we're going to get the show out today so everyone can see that. Please show up.
Yes. Yeah. Also, we have some new exciting things as well. The Holiday Inn Arena was gracious enough to give us 2 certificates for 2 people each for a night and a complimentary breakfast as well. Those will be raffled off, and we will also be adding a 50-50 to it as well.
So there are some very new developments that have happened there.
Yes, there is.
And those sound like really big developments there.
Oh, absolutely. Luckily, Paul Lawrence, the general manager over at the Holiday Inn, was gracious enough to meet with me and offered up some charity as well. And also we have to talk about the Belmar as well because they donated the sausage for this breakfast.
Sausage. So we know there's going to be pancakes and sausage.
And bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs. There you go. Full breakfast.
Yes, absolutely. Full breakfast, coffee, orange juice, it's all going to be there.
Okay, and that's going to be for, what, $10?
Yeah, it's $10, and for children, I think it's over 7. It's going to be, I believe it's 5. And I think it's under 6 is free.
4 to 12 is $5.
Oh, 4 to 12. See, you've got
kids
it.
4 to 12 are $5, and for everyone over 12, it's $10. Anyone under 4 is free.
Okay, well, I'm glad you know what you're doing.
Got to know the events, and I do. So that's going to be a wonderful development. We want to see you there. I know there's something between 50 to 100 people are expected.
That's what we're thinking. There's also going to be a DJ, from what I understand.
DJ? That's right. There is a DJ.
Yes,
I almost forgot about that.
Yes, and they'll be playing Latin music as well.
Yeah, that's right. Well, hey, it's for Puerto Rico, so we got to love that.
Well, absolutely.
We also wanted to go into, in the actual show.
Yes.
I want to go into, everyone's probably heard about Roy Moore and Al Franken by now.
Yes.
Okay. And for those who haven't, just a really quick recap. Roy Moore is the leading candidate for the Senate race in Alabama. He's a Republican. He's expected to win. He's a conservative. And he has been alleged to have committed various sexual assaults years and years ago. And now it's come out, these allegations, and Democrats have requested that he be removed from office if he were to be elected, and to actually remove him from the ballot so that he can't be elected. Within the last 3-4 days, it came out that Senator Al Franken also has committed a sexual assault. Now, the difference, Roy Moore is an allegation. Senator Franken is a fact. There is actual video evidence showing this, and he's already admitted his wrongdoing. Democrats are not asking for his removal.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Very interesting. So one, we have a factual sexual assault that has occurred, but that's okay. On the other end, we have an accusation, and they want someone removed for that.
Now, how does that work, Mike? If there's facts and they won't let, or they don't want him to be removed, what's up with that?
I have no idea. I can't figure this out from the Democrat, and it's mostly the far left point of view. I have no idea how they reconcile that someone factually committing the crime that they're saying they're against. I don't know. We're talking about Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who was on CBS News, demanded that Roy Moore be removed from the election, and that if he were to be seated, that she would fight it and try and prevent it because of the sexual assault he is alleged to have done. And I'm not saying that he did or didn't. I'm not a court. We aren't a court. We don't know if he did or didn't do it. I'm not saying he did or didn't. But because of the allegation, she went on CBS News and said he has to be removed. And Al Franken, she's silent, has nothing to say about it.
Do I possibly hear some double standards going on here?
The double standards get a little bit worse. And Anthony Brindisi, he's the assemblyman running in the New York 22nd race?
Yes.
Okay. He's a candidate from up in Utica. He received money from Al Franken to support him in his local New York race.
Oh, really?
Yeah, out-of-state money. But here's the thing that's funny about that. Anthony Brindisi released a statement on Twitter saying that, well, he was not going to accept money. He was going to donate it to Planned Parenthood.
So wait a minute. If he didn't accept it, wait.
He accepted it. He accepted the money.
Yeah, he accepted the money.
Yes, he accepted the money. He gave, and he's now giving it to Planned Parenthood. And here's the problem: Planned Parenthood, which is a super Democrat stronghold,
Oh, yes.
of support, they're going to donate it back to Anthony Brindisi because they donate to him on a regular.
Wait a minute now. Isn't that... Wait a minute. At one time, I think that was called money laundering.
It sounds like money laundering, doesn't it?
Well, I guess...
Politically, it's legal.
Yeah, well, in other words, so we're going to give it to Planned Parenthood, and then we're going to give it back, well, with some certain pasts here.
It's going back and forth. So it's money coming right back to him, except now it's clean, and it will no longer look like it came from Al Franken. So I would say it's a deception to the public because he took money from Al Franken, who committed a sexual assault, which Anthony Brindisi is against, but not quite, because he's keeping the money. He's just moving it to another spot before he puts it in his bank account, essentially.
Well, I guess the apple didn't fall very far from the tree on that one.
Well, I won't say that, but it's wherever he learned his tricks about money laundering is another thing.
Yeah,
and I consider it money laundering. It's not officially money laundering. It is an official legal act. It just seems really dirty to me. But here's my reason for bringing that up.
Okay.
There has been a lot of talk about sexual assault and what is consent and what is not consent. Has that been a conversation on the campus?
Yes, it has been.
Okay, so in SUNY Broome, it's a big discussion.
Yes, it's been a huge discussion, at least in my writing class. We've actually been given an article that we have been reading, and I find it interesting how it's been presented to the class, if you will. And it's, in some ways, I kind of feel sorry for some people because it's, in some ways, like with you and I, when we went to a party when we were in college 20 years ago, there were certain things that were okay that happened, but now they're not okay anymore.
Okay, and that's very true. But let me ask you this, and I'm going to go, and I'm reaching here, but I remember you had a professor who had a very unique lifestyle.
Oh, yes. I do have a professor that is married to a woman.
She's a lesbian.
Yes.
Okay, but that's not the part that makes me think it's interesting.
No, that isn't. The interesting part about that is the fact that she talks about her sex life in front of the class.
Is this part of the curriculum for her?
I wouldn't think it would be a curriculum for anyone, but evidently it is for her. It's okay.
Okay, what's the actual class?
It's English. It's writing.
Okay, so it's a writing class.
Yes.
And she's talking about her personal sex life.
Yes.
Okay. So, under the heading of sexual assault on the campus, is that an assault?
I would think so, yes. I mean, let's be honest. What if you're a Christian?
Well, you can be anything, and what if you just don't want to know about it?
I think, the sad thing is if you remember being 18 years old, if a conversation like this is going on, you're probably going to be a little nervous about talking about it or saying, listen, I don't feel comfortable with this type of conversation.
Well, that's why I want to talk about it here in this format, because, I'm sure there will be women that will blame me or attack me or you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or the show because, oh my God, we're talking about this. But I think it's very interesting because the environment is saying that it's wrong, and it is, to have a sexual assault.
Right.
And the definition of what is an assault is fluid.
Yeah, but the funny thing about that is if I spoke about my sex life with my wife in front of a bunch of people, they may feel uncomfortable about that.
Yes.
But if you're part of the gay lifestyle, that's okay.
Well, apparently if you're a professor and
yes,
you're gay, then it's perfectly fine and part of a curriculum of a class that has nothing to do with it.
Right. And then also another point too is, and this was said verbatim, that a lot of girls that I've talked to on campus about sex, interesting point that she talked to them about sex, that they don't like the fact that most of the men, they beg for it and they only last for so long. Well, why did I need to know about that?
Why did I need to know about that? Okay.
Exactly.
No, that's not something that's necessary to be known. It's not part of relevance to it. There's other ways to say, well, I don't even know where that applies, really.
The only thing I can think of where that should apply in any curriculum should be a sex ed class.
Maybe biology.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, what, human biology?
Yeah.
Other than that, why is it even being spoken of?
I don't know where. I mean, maybe if you're talking about, I don't know, some specific writer or something.
There's never any specific writer mentioned.
Okay, well then, no. I don't see how that falls into a writing class.
I totally agree with you. But that's okay, though, because that's just the status quo at this point.
Well, that may be the status quo, but it still makes it seem like. And there's the question. Should that be considered a sexual assault? And if it is, let's look at this society. What is or isn't an assault on someone? I mean, if you're offended, and then do you have recourse? Does the campus, does society have to respond because you're offended? If I'm offended by that professor and the fact that she's talking about she's gay and her gay lifestyle in a class that has no relevance to that, and I'm offended, what recourse do I have?
Well, I think the only thing that you could possibly do is go to student services, perhaps, and talk to them about it. I haven't done that personally.
No, I'm thick-skinned. I don't.
Yeah,
personally,
same here.
I don't care. But I just find the argument interesting, especially at a time where we're talking about what is and what isn't sexual assault, what is and what is not consent. When I go into a class for English, that doesn't mean I give consent to the professor to tell me about their sex lives.
That is very, very correct.
That is not my consent.
Yeah, exactly. Personally, I think that sex doesn't belong in the classroom whatsoever.
Maybe in a biology class.
Yeah. Biology, sex ed, whatever. Okay, fine.
Maybe if you're talking about Old English and Shakespeare, who is absolutely pornographic. There's something that a lot of people don't know. If you look at Old English and really define it, he's completely pornographic. And then that makes sense.
Yes, that does make sense. But to sit there for 15, 20 minutes out of lecture and we discuss their home life, to me, that's not right. That's not what you're paying for as a student.
It's definitely not what I would pay for.
Right.
That's not the story I want.
No, exactly. But see, the problem is that's where a lot of the issues are happening with a lot of these students on campus.
Well, it's an interesting aspect of a very national issue that everyone has an opinion on. And we're not here to choose. We're not choosing, Roy Moore or Senator Franken or anybody, nor am I saying your teacher is right or wrong, per se.
Well, here's another example as well. And I mean, since we're on the subject.
Well, we're short on time too, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, when you're talking about lecture, and we've discussed this before on the show as well, where they put their own personal views into the lecture. Another one is just injecting minimal income into a culture class when you're not even discussing it, and then being upset because you have to do a grading curve because you've been talking about your own views opposed to what's supposed to be on the test.
Okay, let me clarify that. So a professor went off book, went into a topic that has nothing to do with what you're going to be graded on, and then because of the time spent, you didn't get the lesson you were supposed to get, and this affected your testing.
That is correct.
Wow, did you pay for that too?
Well, evidently.
Part of the tuition, huh?
Yeah, it's part of the tuition, and I guess it's being snowed.
Can you get a refund for that part?
Nope.
It's interesting. And these are interesting topics for all of the SUNY Broome students. And that's part of what we're here for with SUNY Broome Republicans. Just talking about the things that affect your life and how it affects you and the community and everyone else. And asking the questions that you probably have, but no one said you can ask.
Oh, by the way, I just wanted to mention too. I was admiring the slip that they have for Brindisi when he's going to speak. It's interesting that the only thing in bold letters is free food.
Well, that's normal. That's normal for those kind of events. I don't hold that against them.
Well, I mean, that's how they're going to get the draw.
That's standard, though.
Yeah, that's true.
It's standard. It's what everyone does. So I don't hold that against them. And if students get to eat a meal because of him, fantastic. Now, the fact that he has picked a side and is doing the money laundering, there's a question I would love to see him answer.
Oh, yeah.
At that event. But that's another thing. But again, we're over time. So we're going to end this segment, and then we'll come back, and we'll pick up either on this or on something else.
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, that's our attempt to use sound effects. Don't blame us. We're still learning it. Yes, it's the SUNY Broome Republicans. That's right. It's Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, and
Michael Woodward, the president of SUNY Broome Republicans.
All right, we've got us both here. In the last segment, we were going over a wide range of topics there and talking about, how consent is a very big question always. And even most recently with the news with Roy Moore, Al Franken, and how it's affecting the campus and whether it should affect the campus, especially when you have professors who are, let's call it, giving a bonus to the curriculum.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's wanted or not. And that's a real interesting consent question, too. But there was another thing that was peeve of yours that's been happening on campus.
Oh God, yeah. The fact that you have to depending on where your location of your class is, you literally have to park which side of the parking lot that you're going to park on because of the fact of that big building that is under construction at this point, and they're building the food science building. And I've heard from several students as well about this, that when they're working during the day on this building, like with the jackhammers or the banging of, say, beams or whatever when they're building it, how are you supposed to study with that?
Well, that's a good question. By the way, folks, if you're wondering where all those pops are coming from, we're still working on, we have some brand new mics, and so it's a matter of distance and how strongly we speak into it. So that's why you hear some of that popping there.
We actually have quite a few pieces of new equipment.
Yeah, and we're still trying to tweak that. So
yes,
bear with us and just give yourself a little more space, Mike, so that when you're doing the P's, that's where you're hearing that pop.
Oh, yes.
That's where that explosion's coming from. So beyond that, why didn't they do the construction when they could have done the construction?
Well, my question is why couldn't they do it at night? Because, I mean, they started the project during the summer sessions, okay? And it wasn't really, in my opinion, we were working, I was on what was called the bridge program for writing during the summertime, and we were in the library, so it really wasn't a big bother. But now that we're on the main campus, and you have to choose, like if you park in the first parking lot, you have to choose, okay, do I park in the right side of the lot or the left side of the lot because you have to walk all the way around this building. It's all fenced off where you used to be able to walk right through the center of campus.
That's a problem.
Yeah, and not only that, I've heard from several students they'll be trying to take a test or something of that nature, and there's jackhammers going off because they're building this building.
Well, that will disrupt you.
You would think so. I'm curious to find out how many students their grades are being affected because they can't concentrate because of this.
Well, that sounds like something that needs to be taken care of. There has to be someone responsible for that.
Yeah, I would think so. A foreman, whatever.
Well, someone in the administration has to be able to address that.
You would think, but they're more concerned right now about building another building so they can get more students for more revenue.
Well, how long is this construction supposed to be going on for?
It's supposed to be completed next year. So the beginning of the spring semester, it's supposed to be done.
Wow, 2018 we're talking about.
Yes, 2018.
Okay, well that's not too bad.
Well, the funny thing about that is I guess they're going to have the winery and the brewery and the cheese factory as well.
Those are all nice things.
Yes, they are nice things. I mean, I'll be honest. In my kitchen chemistry class, it was interesting making cheese. That was fun. However, I do find it interesting that they were brewing all their beer just before the big Christmas party.
Well, good for them because I want to be there for that celebration.
You're not kidding, especially since most of the students in my class are underage. So I guess we know where all that beer is going.
Maybe. It'll be interesting to see. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, so life on campus is it taking on the holiday spirit?
Honestly, I haven't noticed anything. There's no decorations up. There's a few plays going on, but they have nothing to do with Thanksgiving.
Are they doing the happy holiday thing, or are they doing Merry Christmas?
I haven't heard anything at all, honestly. Not a thing.
Well, it's that time of year. I mean, we're just before Thanksgiving and actually right after Halloween.
Yeah.
Everything went to Christmas.
Well, nothing. I haven't seen anything on campus about the holidays whatsoever. The only thing that I know of is I believe it's on December 19th is the giving of the toys.
Toys for Tots. You mean December 19th?
Yes, and that is that's going to be interesting, though, I will say, is because all the groups, well, they're encouraging all the groups to at least give a few toys for Tots.
That's right. And that's another great thing. Actually, I'm glad you bring it up. That's also with the NSLS, which we support as well. With the SUNY Broome Republicans, we support this. Please make your donations on toys. There are needy families out there.
Oh, yes, especially in it. Mike, it's interesting, too, because I did a lot of volunteering last summer. And with the bag giveaway, for example, which was done at Sherry Lindsay Park, they took backpacks, they stuffed them with school supplies and gave them away. And we thought we were only going to do one event, which was the ice cream social, and they gave away 100 bags. We ended up doing 2 events, and the second event we ended up giving away over 400.
So there's definitely a need in the area.
Yes, and by the way, I just want to mention that the second time around there was a major Republican donation done for that.
Nice plug. Yes, we're involved. We're involved with the community. I know we don't get enough credit for it because we don't actually look for most credit, but sometimes it's due. And that's
absolutely.
A good thing. By the way, how are people, if they want to make a donation of the toys, you're on the NSLS as well as the president of the SUNY Broome Republicans. How can people who are listening in right now be able to make donations?
It's very simple, actually. They're going to have the giving of the toys, I believe, at Student Center on the 19th. You just show up and you just give your toy.
Well, that's easy enough.
Oh, absolutely.
What if they want to give money?
They can contact, I believe her name is Andrea, and if anybody wants more information, I can give them the email for that, because that's another thing, too, is we need to talk about the SUNY Broome Foundation that's working on another project that maybe we'll get into on our next segment as well, that the SUNY Broome Republicans is actually making a donation for.
Well, we've got about 5 minutes. What's the donation?
The donation is for students that they found that are actually homeless. They're living in cars. They're living wherever. It's a sad situation, but they're trying to better themselves through school.
Well, that's always an important and useful way to do that.
Yes. And, it's kind of interesting that we're on the SUNY Broome Republicans and podcast, and the name of my microphone just happens to be The Patriot.
You're a nut. Yeah, it is. It's the Patriot. It's a MXL 990 Patriot edition.
It's
Got a flag and everything.
Oh, yes. It's patriotic.
We'll take a picture of you with it.
Woohoo. Okay, the person that's dealing with this specific donation is Andrea Roma. And her email address...
It's Heinz, folks. It's the Heinz 57 Anticipation.
It is ROMAAL at sunybroome.edu.
ROMAAL, 2 A's?
Yes, 2 A's.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And she's handling the donation for this. And evidently, if you're part of a club, you will get recognition at an award ceremony for the donations for this as well.
Well, that's a nice thing, but the reward is just getting the donations themselves, I think.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, at the next Council of Clubs on the 29th, Andrea will be attending that meeting and then trying to sell it one more time.
Good, good. There's never any bad time to make a donation to the homeless or to kids in need, and we're always happy to help with that.
Especially students that are trying to better themselves, and for whatever reason, their own personal circumstances that are putting them there. It could not be their own fault. I mean, it could be money.
Life happens.
I mean, we were actually discussing what I think it was last week. We were discussing the issues with financial aid. And
episode 5.
Yes, episode 5. We were talking about the issues of financial aid, getting the financial aid to these students, and this could be, for some students, this could be the bridge that will get them to success.
Oh, without doubt. Without doubt. So I'm glad we mentioned that before the break. All right. So we're going to take another break, and then we'll be back with our final segment, and we'll wrap up a few things and talk about the future as well. So thank you for joining us again at SUNY Broome Republicans. We'll be right back. Hey, everyone. That's right. We're back. It is the SUNY Broome Republicans with your hosts, Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, and
Michael Woodward, the president of SUNY Broome Republicans.
That's right. We're both back with you on our final segment for episode 6. And actually, there was a great thing. We've talked about a lot of things today.
Oh, yes.
We've gone through a range. But there's something that's very important that we haven't discussed, actually, in the last several episodes. And I want to bring it up for today. People who are listening, people who are on campus,
yes,
can they be members?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, one thing I've heard on campus from a lot of people is the fact that they're so sick of the liberal rhetoric that's on campus constantly. And those people, there is a breath of fresh air. And that is us. That's the Republicans. That is the SUNY Broome Republicans.
Well, let me ask you. People have heard about the program. They've heard about what we do. And let's ask. They want to get involved. How can they get involved?
Well, first off, on the 29th, we're going to have we're going to have our second club meeting. They can come there. They can sign up on the swarm.
Wait a minute, on the 21st?
9th.
29th of what month?
Of November.
Okay. At what time?
It should be at 1 o'clock. It's supposed to be scheduled to be in 208B. We will...
You sure about that?
Yeah, unless it gets changed. Also, you can also go on the swarm, and you can join on the swarm. The SUNY Broome Republicans is listed. All you have to do is go up there. You look at the webpage and just hit join. If not, you can email me at woodwardmj1@acad.sunybroome.edu, and I will add you to the list and send you a request to join.
I'm so happy that you got that at the right speed for the first time.
Well, we learn every once in a while.
Once in a while.
Once in a while.
Get a shorter email. But, okay, so they can email you.
Yes.
Given. What else? And they can drop in to, what was the location again?
It's 208B, and that's going to be at the old science building.
Okay, at the old science building, 208B. And is there another way that people can get in touch, say they want to be involved? What about Twitter?
Yes, actually, we're at SUNY Broome GOP at Twitter. And then also we're on Facebook as well, SUNY Broome Republicans.
Okay, so there's a bunch of, there's social media formats.
Yes.
There's in-person.
Yes.
There's email. So people can contact you any way like that.
Yes.
And still be able to, and join up and find out more about the events, like all of the charities that we're working with.
Yes.
And even being on this program here on the podcast.
Oh, yes. Anybody can, actually, now that we are able to take phone calls, you can call in, or you can come with us and you can show up in the studio as well.
That's right. We've already had our first phone guest. That was Dawn with the NSLS.
Yes.
And so we can do the phone calls. We can do in person. The studio easily will allow us to be able to have several people here for the taping. And we do have some guests coming up.
Yes.
Can I mention one or two of the names?
Nice. Sure, go ahead.
I know that there is the student counselor for the organization.
Yes.
And that's also the councilman of Binghamton. That's Giovanni Scaringhi.
Yes.
And so he's Dr.
Yes,
Giovanni
doctor. Yeah,
Scaringhi.
better get that right.
And that's right. He earned it. So
yes.
I want to make sure I say it. So he's one of the speakers that's expected.
Yes.
And I know that there's conversation about perhaps a federal elected office that may be coming by.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And maybe also a certain state senate
yes.
individual that may be coming by.
Yes, we definitely have a really, really good lineup of speakers that could come in. And by the way, anybody that just throw any rumors out that are already out there, they will be answering questions.
Okay. And that's an important thing. So that's one of the benefits of being in the organization.
Yes.
To be able to meet with and to speak with elected officials, people who are politicos and influence the laws and the things that affect us every day.
Yes, absolutely. And it's huge that rather than them sitting outside with signs complaining about different things, they need to learn to come in. They need to learn to ask questions. And that's what we're all about.
Well, the opportunity to ask a question and get an answer and then make a decision on your own.
Yes, absolutely. And you need to be able to do that. I mean, and we've actually seen this where people stayed outside while the people that led them came inside and asked questions.
Well, those weren't Republicans.
No, they were not.
They weren't Republicans, and they're not part of SUNY Broome Republicans.
No, they're not.
Because otherwise they would have been inside the room and being able to find out what they'd like to know.
Absolutely.
About various politicians. So there's a couple of benefits for that. And I think it's a wonderful combination of being able to have community service, to help people out, to improve the lives of the community that we all live in.
Yes.
And also to be able to be well informed about the changes that are happening and affecting us every day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's huge.
Is there another membership drive that's coming soon?
Yeah, we will have another membership drive, but that's going to be announced at this point. We're trying to put that together.
Okay. There was one other thing that I thought was really interesting, and I know it's in the works, but it's something that people will enjoy. There's a dinner. Or is that still on the hush?
That's kind of still on the hush because...
Oh, never mind then. Don't even. I gave away too much.
Yes, there will be. There will definitely be a dinner for the SUNY Broome Republicans at some point.
Okay, but we won't talk more about that. I gave away too much. I'm in trouble, folks. I'm in trouble.
Uh-oh.
But that's all right. I'll deal with it. But these are, again, we're just letting you know about all the things that are being involved because the organization, it's about 1 month now?
Yes.
Are we officially 1 month as a organization?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so in 1 month's time, we've taken on 2 donation drives. We've got 3 or 4 potential speakers lined up.
And don't forget also that we are also part of the Federation of the New York State Federation of College Republicans, as well as the College Republicans National Committee.
That's a lot of ground to cover in 30 days.
Oh, absolutely.
What's the next 30 days going to be like?
It's going to be huge because we have some possible good things over the horizon, but I don't want to give them away.
Okay, that's fair. And yes, while we're here, we still have people contacting us about the show and the events that are going on. So that's why you hear every so often and we also use the phones for some of the sound effects. That's why you hear all this.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, in the summertime. You know, it's funny, too, because in the summertime, we can't just do school. What other options do we have, like barbecues? Those will be on the horizon. You have to have those.
I think.
And, you know, it's funny if you're local and you get the emails when the speakers come down. We're still going to have, if Senator Fred Ashkar or Congresswoman Claudia Tenney speak in Binghamton, New York, there definitely will be emails sent out. So you'll have the opportunity to speak to them summer, spring, whenever they're here.
That'll be great. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a lot of ground to cover in 30 days. The organization has been doing leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
And still looking to grow. And there's room for plenty of people.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And we encourage anyone to come join us. And, you know, don't be afraid of your political, if you're a Democrat, if you're an independent, a libertarian, whatever, come speak to us.
Absolutely. I mean, why not?
Yes.
Let's hear from all voices. That's the great thing.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is part of your First Amendment. Why wouldn't we encourage people to come talk to us?
Well, that's one of the Republican ideals. We like all of the amendments, especially the first 10.
Yes.
My personal favorite is the second, but that's just me.
Well, the Second Amendment is great because it protects the rest of them.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But we are exercising that First Amendment, and we love it.
Yes, we do.
And we want to do that in person. And we want to be sure to invite people in. And so that you have all these ways, social media, email, in person, to contact, to get involved, or even just to drop by and say, hey, I'm curious. What is this all about?
You know, another thing, too, and we're going to discuss this next week, a lot of people, for whatever reason, paint the Republican Party being against other lifestyles or whatever. But I want to get into what's called pink pistols.
What?
Pink pistols.
Okay, for people who can't hear him as he's exploding there, pink pistols. What? What is that?
Yes, Pink Pistols is actually it's an actual gay shooting club that's actually in the area. It was just established. Done some research on this, and I think it's a great program.
Well, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is, because let's be honest, okay? And let's talk about the Second Amendment quickly.
Yeah.
If more people actually carry to conceal and carry, the word gay bashing would never happen.
That's an interesting aspect of the question that I don't think you hear too often at all.
That is very true.
We should do an episode on the Second Amendment.
Absolutely.
It's an important one.
Yes.
It's a major... Actually, we should go through all the amendments, but the second... Maybe next week we'll do...
Yeah. Actually, let me just say, not the word, but the term gay bashing would never happen if the term conceal and carry was there.
Okay. I could see that. It would make it a lot more difficult.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. So that would be interesting. But I think maybe in the next episode,
Yes.
one of the segments is we'll talk about the Second Amendment. And matter of fact, next week is the 25th. It'll be after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
When we tape, do you want to... Let's give out the number now.
Okay.
The number is 607-242-9247. Again, 607-242-9247. And you'll be able to call in on Saturday, the 25th, while we're taping. Let's say
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Between 3 and 4 o'clock, you'll call in. You'll be on. We'll be live. We'll tape your questions, and we'll talk with you at that time. And that'll be fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. We'll try to get through as many calls as possible. It's a cell phone, so trust me, there's only so many calls we can take at once, or you can text in and we'll answer the text.
Oh, absolutely. Or email.
Or email. Yeah, we can do emails as well. So that'll give you a few different options, and you can ask your questions of the SUNY Broome Republicans on the podcast, and we'll answer it live.
In case anybody missed it, the email address is woodmj1@acad.sunybroome.edu.
Fantastic. No, that's perfect. So I think we've covered a lot of ground here today. We've talked about a lot of different issues, and I think they're all interesting. And we definitely want to hear back from everyone about what they think about it. But with that, I think we are going to do, or we're going to try to do, our exit. And please bear with us. It's new technology, folks, so we're trying to make it work. But I want to thank you, because you make this possible.
Absolutely.
I want you to have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
And we look forward to seeing you at the Pancakes for Puerto Rico tomorrow, November 19th, and then having your calls on November 25th.